Okay, this is part two of my video. About differences between Democrats and Republicans. Why I'm a Republican and not a Democrat. Um, when it comes to why I'm a Republican and not a Democrat, um, the rest of my family are all Democrats, but I am not. I've always been a Republican. I've always been pretty conservative. Um, when it comes to the rest of my family, most of my life I've seen things from the perspective of someone that's needy, that someone that, you know, not making a lot of money, not in a good place financially. Most of my life has been like that. Most of my family has been the opposite. They've always made a lot of money, or most of them have. Most of them always have had a decent income, so they see things from the perspective of somebody that's over somebody that's, I've seen things that are under, things from the down and out, people from, I've seen more of the life from that perspective, from people who are like, you see people who are down and out, people who are homeless, people who are, um, don't have any money, people who are struggling financially. I've seen that more than the rest of my family has, than anybody in my family has. They've always seen it from the other perspective of having a great income, making a great living. Um, you know, so I've seen it from the perspective of people on close to from the people on welfare, because I've been on welfare. I've actually been on food stamps. You know, I've actually been on food stamps one time. You know, ironically, it was um, the first. I think it was the first 6 months I was working at Sam's Club. I was on food stamps. You know, because it takes about 6 months after you get on it to where they figure out, oh, you don't need these. You know. So anyway, I was on food stamps for about 6 months while I was working at Sam's Club, stocking shelves at night. You know, but anyway, um, but my family hasn't seen that. I don't think they've either never or very rarely have they seen life from the perspective of people who are needy, of people that need to go to food banks, of people who are, you know, desperate for, that need help. That, so they see it from, so they see, helping people from that perspective, you know. But I've also seen that, um, Democrats, the attitude they have towards people who are needy and people who are poor is one of condescension and one of being a parent and they're dealing with a child. you know, of treating, that's how Democrats treat people who are in that position. You know, they treat them like a parent teaches, treats as their child, you know, and that's how a lot of times, that's how a lot of Democrats treat people who are poor or people who are minorities. You know, they always have the attitude of, we know what's best for you. Just go along with it. Just do what we want you to do. You know, they know what's best for everybody. You know, but yet, Republicans, I mean, Democrats, me, um, Democrats like to treat people like, like a child, like somebody who's a dependent, someone who is, you know, um, like that, like they're dependent, like they're a child, you know, they aren't going to give them the respect that they deserve. They're going to rob them of their dignity when they do that. You know, that's what they do. That's what they do. You're robbing them of their dignity when you treat them that way. Excuse me, I need a drink. You know, that is what you do. You rob them of their dignity. I mean, when you're an adult and you get treated like a child, how does that feel? How does that feel? It feels terrible. It feels terrible. How would I know? Well, I know because it's happened to me. That's why. But yet the rest of my family, my parents and my siblings, they've never been treated that way. They've never been treated um, like a small child, like they're like that. Like a small child, or had someone treat them condescendingly like that. If they have, I'm sure they sure didn't enjoy it. They probably don't understand that that is how they treat people who are poor. That is exactly how Democrats treat people who are poor. Yeah, I'm gonna hang on. I love this. These are really good. Yum yum. But anyway, like I was saying, that is exactly how Democrats treat people who are poor. You know, they treat them like little kids, like you would a little kid. Like, oh, we need to take care of you. We need to babysit you. You know, that's exactly how Democrats treat people who are poor. They rob them of their dignity. They rob them of their feeling of self-worth. You know, when you get treated that way, man, I mean, it sucks to be treated that way. It absolutely sucks to be treated like you need to be babysat, like you need to be taken care of, like you can't take care of yourself. You know, that's the way it was when I was in at an a residence at a nursing home. You know, it's like you eat at certain times, take your meds at certain times. You know, all the games and everything. All the events were at certain times. You know, yeah, it's just not fun to be treated that way. You know, it really isn't. But yet, that is exactly how Democrats treat people who are in that position. You know, that is the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Okay? I know if you're a Democrat, you're screaming at the screen, that isn't true! No, but it is true. You know, it is true. Oh man, I'm tired. And I'm still waiting for my first video to finish uploading, which will be a while. But anyway, yeah, my dad raises a lot of vegetables for the Great Plains Food Bank, and there was one time he was at a place where they gave out a lot of vegetables and stuff to people who needed it. And so he was trying to get people to volunteer to help him. I mean, these are the people who are benefiting from his hard work. These are the people who are getting the food that he's donating to the Great Plains Food Bank. And so he thought, well, he'll get a lot of people to volunteer. To volunteer and to help him out. And he got maybe a couple people to help, to volunteer. But it's like, there are some people who, if you give them anything, they will accept it, and, they have no desire to help out with the people who are putting so much work into raising vegetables that they benefit from. Most of those people couldn't care less. They couldn't have cared less that my dad was doing that. And so now this year he's actually paying people to help, pick corn and do some other things that he needs done. He's actually having to pay people to do that. But that's the way some people are. That's the way some people are. They will, you offer to help them, and they'll keep, and give them and give and give and give, and they'll take some more. You know, there's some people who are lazy. You know, a lot of people who are down and out. You know, are like that. You know, let me eat some more of my goldfish. Yeah, so anyway. Mm, mm, oh, mm. You know, another issue that's different from Republicans to Democrats. You know, Democrats can't draw the line between people who are deserving, people who are needy, who deserve help, and those people who are needy because they're lazy. They can't draw the distinction between the two. You know, they're of the attitude of we should help everybody. You know, we should help everybody who's needy. If they are needy because of, through no fault of their own, because of circumstances, or because of people who made decisions and done things that have caused them to be needy. You know, to Democrats, doesn't matter. Take care, you know, provide care for everybody. You know, care for it, you know, help everybody. But, you know, in the Bible, there's a verse that says, if a man does not work, he should not eat. You know? I mean, there are people who are needy because of their own stupid decisions. You know? Because of the dumb things they've done. Through drugs or other things. You know? There are people who are needy because of that. Because of that. You know? Republicans draw the line. It said, okay, if you're legitimate, if you've done nothing on your own, if you've done nothing to bring this on yourself, then yeah, we should help you. But for those people who have done things to make themselves needy and to make themselves desperate, you know, we should say, get out of here. Go live in your, you know, go live in your swamp, you know, go live in your, you know, is squalor, you know, go live in your squalor. You know, you're the one who brought it on. You're the one who deserves to do that, to live in it. You know, we shouldn't help you if you brought it on yourself. The only way you're going to learn is if you have to deal with it yourself. If you don't get any help, you're not going to deal with it. You're just going to perpetuate it. It's just going to enable you to continue to live like that. Okay? And that's why, the Democrats can't draw the distinction. It's the same thing with illegal immigrants and legal immigrants. Democrats can't draw the distinction. They can't tell somebody who is an illegal, who has violated our laws, they can't tell them that no, you should not be here. They can't do that. They can't tell someone who has broken our laws to come here. They can't tell them, no, you shouldn't be here. They can't make that distinction. But I certainly can. And a lot of other Republicans can. A lot of other Republicans can say, hey, guess what? You get out of here. To say, leave. We are going to send you back. And if you come here, we want you to do it legally. To get in the back of the line and you wait your turn. And if you wait long enough to come, you can come here legally. But not if you're here illegally. Republicans say that. But Democrats can't say that. They can't distinguish between legal immigration and illegal immigration. To them, it's all immigration. Everybody who's here, legal or illegal, illegally or legally, should be here. That's wrong. That is wrong. Democrats are wrong about that, with that. But anyway, it's like we can't allow just anyone to come if they want to. We can't do that. We can't tell the whole world, if your life sucks, if you hate your country, if your country sucks, come on in. Come on in. We can't do that to the world. It would destroy America if we did that. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me for burping. But, but the Democrats, they don't mind if they destroyed America. If they destroyed America and they brought everybody from the world in to save them, they'd be okay with that. They'd be fine with that. Democrats, they'd be okay with that. But they can't make the distinction between legal and illegal immigration. They can't. Oh my gosh. That is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's like, why? Why can't you understand that? There are people who do not belong here. Okay? There are people who do not belong here. And they don't belong here because they have violated our immigration laws. And there's a lot of people who are like that. And Democrats, Democrats, sorry. Democrats do not have any problem with them doing that. They don't care. What about all the people that are coming here legally, that have come here legally? You know, who's, you know, why should they play by the rules and have other people not play by the rules? You know. But anyway, let's see. Some other things that differences to make. Differences between Democrat and Republican. Um, let's see. Let's see. Let me point out the total hypocrisy of abortion and the death penalty. The difference between what conservatives believe and what not all conservatives, but a lot of conservatives, on what Democrats believe. You most conservatives are pro-life. They're against the killing of an unborn child, which is right, which I agree with. And then when it comes to the death penalty, you've got two different groups of Republicans. One group is in favor of the death penalty. They believe in an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. If you take a life, you should forfeit your own life. Which is, which I could support that. I could agree with that because at one time I did believe that. At one time, that's what I believed. I supported the death penalty. However, there are other conservatives that do not believe that, who are against the death penalty. Okay? Which I support now. I'm against the death penalty. My faith plays a part in that, as I explained in the previous video, and why. So anyway, either against or for the death penalty and being pro-life, makes total sense. If you take a life, your life should be taken. Well, okay, I could support that. Or, you're against the death. You're against killing an innocent unborn child. But, someone who's killed someone is not innocent. That's not the taking of innocent life. That's for the most of the time. That's what I wanted to say. Most of the time, it's taking a life that's guilty. Most of the time, most times, people are end up on death row are guilty, and so so chances are more than likely that it's taking a guilty life, which is okay if that's what you believe. However, I am pro-life and against the death penalty, which also makes total sense. I can say I'm against the death penalty for unborn life and guilty life. If you're guilty of taking life, I'm against that too. Again, makes total sense. Makes total sense. When it comes to what you believe and what you don't believe. Okay? But what doesn't make any sense is the position of Democrats. You know, most Democrats are pro-choice. Okay, most Democrats are in favor of abortion. They're okay with it. They're okay with taking the life of an unborn child. They're fine with it. You know, in fact, my oldest brother and his wife, my sister-in-law, I don't know if they're in favor of it, but they're certainly not against it. You know, I don't know if they're in favor of abortion, but they're certainly not against it. You know, but most liberals would agree with that. Most liberals would not say they're in favor of abortion, but they're not against it. You know, I, however, am against abortion. I, however, am say no. Well, in my mind, I know that it's wrong. I know it shouldn't happen, should ever happen. You know. But anyway, and that's who I am. That's the way I've always believed. You know, always been pro-life in what I believe. But I'm against the death penalty, you know? And as I explained in the previous video, why, I'm for the beginning of innocent life and the end of guilty life. You know, I'm against taking both of them. I'm against taking of the innocent life of an unborn child, and I'm against the taking of the life of the guilty person who murdered someone. Because mistakes can be made. You know, you can execute someone, but you can't go, oops, sorry, we blew it, we were wrong. You know, there's no way. Hang on. You don't execute someone and then find out they didn't do it, and have the paddles to defibrillator. They go shock someone back to life. Sorry, we screwed up. You were innocent. We didn't. Sorry, we executed you. That doesn't happen. Once you execute a criminal, they are dead. That's it. Over. Game over. They're done. They're dead. So you can't undo a death penalty once they're dead. You can't. Okay? So if you make a mistake, you can't undo it. You can't undo that. That's why abortion is wrong every single time. Because you apply the death penalty to an unborn child every single time, you carry out an abortion. Well, not every time, but every time, you abort a child, you can't undo that. You can't take what was a child and put it back in the mother and, everything's okay. It's the same way with suicide. You can't undo a suicide once you're dead. That's why it's so wrong. That's why it's wrong. You can't undo it. But anyway. But But the reason why that is so hypocritical of Democrats to believe what most Democrats believe, most Democrats are pro-choice. They're okay with executing a child. They're okay with that. They're fine. Okay, they're fine with that, but they're against executing a criminal. You know, it's like, I'm like, how do you support executing an innocent unborn baby, but, how do you support that, but you're against, oh, sorry. How are you against executing a criminal who's most likely murdered somebody? How are you possibly support both positions at the same time? Are you really that stupid to believe that? But for a lot of Democrats, that's exactly what they believe. That is exactly what they support. That is exactly what they believe. They're not only pro-choice when it comes to babies, unborn baby being killed, but they are against executing criminals who've had a jury, had a trial, who had a lawyer defending them, and they, had a judge, jury, sentenced to death, had all of that. They're all there, who's had a person who had all of that, and they're against executing that person, but they're okay with executing an unborn baby, who who was conceived at the wrong time for their mother. It's like, oh my gosh. If you're pro-choice, think about this. Think about this. What crime, ask yourself this question. What crime did that unborn baby commit to deserve of the death penalty? Okay? Ask yourself that question. What crime did that unborn baby commit to deserve the death penalty? Intentionally. Did they choose to be conceived? No. They didn't choose to be conceived. They didn't choose to be, conceived and on their his or her way to being born. Did did they get their parents together to have them? No, they never did. So how can you support executing that unborn child for that reason? How can you support executing that unborn child? But yet, you're against executing a criminal who has committed a crime, who chose to commit the crime, think about this. Think about how contradictory and how stupid it is to believe in both sides, both arguments at the same time. Think about it. But yet, a lot of Democrats, that's what they believe. A lot of you Democrats believe exactly that. You're pro-choice and you're against the death penalty. And it's like, do you really understand? Do you really understand what you believe? In the position, and how contradictory those two positions are to each other? I mean, to be against the death penalty, to be pro-life and against the death penalty, that's consistent. That is consistent, That is a consistent, set of beliefs and values, for both of them. You're against executing those from the very beginning of life to those who are innocent, to the innocent beginning of life, to the life when it's the most guilty and the most deserving of it. You're against the executing that as well too at the same time. Or you're against executing the innocent beginning of life, but you're okay, but you're okay with the executing the most guilty of life. Again, consistent. It is a very consistent. Both of those are both beliefs. Being pro-life and against the death penalty is consistent. Being pro-life and for the death penalty is also consistent. But being pro-choice and against the death penalty is not in any way consistent. It isn't. But anyway, hopefully I've gotten video number one almost completely loaded.